I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
Good afternoon and welcome back to the NBA Fantasy and Bet Show for February 5th, 2025. I got with me Lawson Turner, my homeboy, my comrade. Look, man, we've got quite a few games to cover. So I don't know about you, but I'm ready to get this thing rolling because some of them are just so lopsided that, I don't even want to spend a bunch of time on it. But we are going to get our viewers a chance to win some cash. So let's jump right into it. Up first, we got the Cavaliers coming off of a devastating loss last night at home against Boston, headed to Motown to take on the Pistons. I'm going with my gut in this one, Lawson. I'm just going to get it out of the way. I think the Cavaliers are going to come out firing. They are one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league. They are second in the league with 122.3 points per game. I just don't think that the Pistons have the ability to slow them down. Cade Cunningham is going to do his thing. There's no doubt about that. But this is a bounce-back game for the Cavs. I'm going to take the Cavs at -6.5 to make a little bit of money. I think that they'll probably even win this game by double digits, but I'll be sensible. Where are you at with this?
Donovan Mitchell is listed as questionable for this game with a shoulder injury. However, I don't think it'll matter. The only thing that his injury, if ruled out, will do is make the game slightly closer. But just like you said, the Cavs should win this game going away. Cade Cunningham is an ascending star, potential superstar, but it won't matter. I think that the Cavs are too deep. 1 through 9, they are exceptional, and they've been one of the best teams all year long. So I'm sticking with you. I love the Cavs in this spot. Hammer the Cavs minus, I would say almost whatever, but with the spread being 5, I'm fine with the Cavs covering the 5.
I agree. I just wanted to get a couple extra points because I know it's going to be like a negative something or whatever. So from a fantasy aspect, with the fact that Donovan Mitchell is sort of banged up, I'm going to roll out. I'm going to roll out a little tricky trick here. I'm actually leaning towards Darius Garland again. I wrote it last night. He came through. Now he's got a little bit better of a matchup. Boston's got a good defensive team, and he still put up 25. So, yes, the price tag is 7,600 on DK, but I'm rolling with Darius Garland. Somebody's going to have to step up if Mitchell is in fact out, or even if he isn't out, his minutes are still going to be limited. So roll out with Darius Garland. Who are you looking at in this one?
Evan Mobley is the guy in this matchup. With him being at a power forward, we know he's a oversized power forward at almost 7 feet tall. He's going to be drawing a matchup against Tobias Harris, who's the power forward for the Detroit Pistons. Now, Tobias Harris is a power forward, but only in name. We know he's a natural small forward, but due to them being slightly undersized in Detroit, I can see Evan Mobley having a really, really strong performance in this game.
I think that also you hit the nail on the head with that because these two teams tangled back on the 27th of January.
Yeah.
And it was the Cavs that walked away with a 110-91 victory. And in that game, Evan Mobley rallied and put up 42.5 fantasy points. I think that is a solid pick. From the great state of Michigan to Charlotte, North Carolina, we have the Hornets coming in as severe underdogs as they should be against the Bucks team. We all know that Chris Middleton is now in Washington. Kyle Kuzma is now in Milwaukee. We all know that, but look, I'm not going to get away from this game. This is another Wally Whopper. Follow the numbers, people. I am not scared of that 10.5. Everybody's like, oh my God, no. Damian Lillard, Giannis, he is questionable. Lillard is questionable. So I'm actually going to flip the script on you, Lawson. I'm actually rolling with the Hornets plus 10.5 because I
Mm,
think it's just too big of a number,
yeah.
especially considering the Freak Greek is injured,
Mm.
Damian Lillard is injured. They just gave up that veteran presence with Chris Middleton. We all know Kyle Kuzma's not going to be starting. I am I looking at this the wrong way?
I think with 10.5, you're leading on more of the safer side. However, I'm perfectly fine with swallowing the 10.5. You said Giannis and Dame were questionable. They've been upgraded to probable with, the knee and the groin issue. And another thing, Bobby Portis is probable in this game after missing the past few with whatever personal issues he was going with. The only player that I see questionable is Brook Lopez, and once again, it won't really matter when you look at injuries for the Charlotte Hornets. LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Cody Martin, Josh Okogie out. There's a lot of that's a lot of key players and pieces to a Hornets team
Mhm.
wasn't already good to begin with outside of Lamelo Ball's excellence. Now, Miles Bridges, we've seen him have really nice and strong games. However, with Milwaukee being one of the slightly bigger teams in the NBA, especially in the Eastern Conference, I expect this to get out of hand early and often, and I expect them to dominate. The 10.5 is a lot. I get that, but I'm perfectly fine with swallowing the 10.5.
Absolutely.
Mm,
And I'm with you on this. If Giannis and Damian are in, listen, people, flip the script. Take the minus 10.5. That's a game changer because there is not one solid person. You could put two of them Hornets players on Giannis, and he's still going to drop a 30 burger.
yeah.
I'm just saying. So pay attention and flip the script if both are active. Um, where are you looking at in this game for a fantasy player?
For a fantasy player that's not, like a Giannis, because Giannis is going to do Giannis things, look for Charlotte Hornets center Mark Williams. He's been excellent over the past couple of weeks. I really like his game. Really, really dominant inside force. He forces a lot of offensive rebounds. Now, he does draw a little bit of a tougher matchup with Brook Lopez, but Brook Lopez is questionable with a back injury. With him being an older player, even if he does play, I expect him to be on a slight minutes restriction. Now you still have Giannis inside, who's one of the best defenders in the league. But for value wise, I really like Mark Williams. Depending, doesn't matter what his price tag is. I think he's a nice, solid pick.
I think for me, I'm going on the lower end of the spectrum in this. No Chris Middleton, Kyle Kuzma is not going to be active.
Yep.
The Bucks are going to have a small forward slash power forward step up. I'm looking at Torian Prince here. He's averaging
Mm,
17.5 points, fantasy points per game. Um, Charlotte does rank 13th against the position, but that doesn't
mm.
scare me. I think this is a good opportunity for Torian Prince to just get a slight uptick in some playing time. Keep your eye on Torian Prince. Um, on to the next. The Spurs come in at minus 180 against the Hawks in Atlanta, plus 4.5. Um, what more can you say other than Wemby? This is Wemby all day. This would be my lock player of the day if you're paying up. This is just too good of a matchup. I know they have Clint Capella. I know they have a Kongwu. I don't care. De'Aaron Fox, is he playing today finally
Yeah,
with
he's playing.
this new team? So this is gonna. I am not scared of not only that minus 180 Lawson, but I'm not scared of a minus 5.5. Give Spurs another point
Right.
because De'Aaron Fox is going to bring fire. He's
Mhm.
with the best, one of the best, if not the best players in the league with Wemby. That is a debatable statement, I know, but when you look at how dominant Wemby has been with the supporting cast that he's had, now you're adding a superstar with De'Aaron Fox. That's a lethal combination, in my opinion. What do you think?
I think with Clint Capella being ruled out with his back injury, I think this is Spurs all day long. They're without Jalen Johnson, who suffered that season-ending injury a couple weeks ago. Clint Capella is out. Bogdan Bogdanovic is out. The As opposed to a person who you love in this game, full fade De'Aaron Fox. Yes, he's going to get his shots up. Yes, his minutes are going to be there. However, he draws a difficult matchup with with Dyson Daniels, who has had an excellent season. He's number one in the league in steals per game with 3, number one in deflections per game with over 6, and number one in total deflections. If there's a player that I love, and it's not Wimby. Wimby's your definite lock if you're going to pay in the upper echelon. But look for Dyson Daniels. I mean, he's a defensive menace, and it's his first year in Atlanta because he was, in my opinion, the key diamond spot in the DeJounte Murray trade this past offseason.
From a fantasy aspect, I got a player that's sitting at about 4,500 that's been averaging 27.8 fantasy points per game, and I love that odds. That's almost a 5x. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at Jeremy Sohan.
Mm-hmm.
He's been solid. Yes, I know. There's actually a couple players on San Antonio's side that I like. Not only do I like Sohan, but at 4,800, you could pay 300 more and bring in a Harrison Barnes, who's averaging 20.9. I think that this Spurs team, we could see a resurgence out of this Spurs team. You know what I mean? And granted, Greg's out, the Popovich is out with illness or whatever, but this is a young team that has some serious firepower if they can gel together. Right. So on to the next, another slobber knocker, look, there's no easy way to put this. Is boots all the way. The Grizzlies, I don't care. That damn spread could be minus 15, plus 15.5. And I'm riding that. This is just one of those games, Lawson. If I'm looking at it wrong, correct me. But they will not and are not going to have an answer for Jaren Jackson Jr. Ja Morant is going to go crazy. This is just a Grizzlies team that is well-rounded. And I'm not even kidding. I would bump that up to minus 12.5 easily. Yeah. Easily.
Mm-hmm. With this game unfolding how it's been, RJ Barrett's still out with the concussion. Jakob Poeltl's going to be out. So in terms of Memphis injuries, I mean, Desmond Bane's been ruled out with an ankle, but just like you said, it shouldn't matter. Jaren Jackson Jr. is your must play in this game. Doesn't matter.
Poeltl's out as well. So that right there is the only big man that Toronto has that would even been able to compete with Triple J. Yeah, that's all there is to it.
100%.
So from the fantasy side of it, he let me down last night, but we're going to go with a stud off of a dud mentality in this one. I'm rolling back with Santi Aldama, averaging 28.5 fantasy points per game. The Raptors ranked 21st in the league against that position, and he's coming in at a very low 4,600 loss, and that's just too good of odds to pass up. I mean, it's a gamble. You don't know what's going to happen. It could become so lopsided. We see third stringers coming out of the dang thing, and I don't even think there's a such thing as third string because there's only 15 players on the team. So I'm just saying. But where are you at with the fantasy in this?
Scottie Pippen Jr. is by far, he is your kind of a budget beast per se. With you saying this game could get out of hand, we could see a massive uptick in his minutes just for the season. He's averaging, almost 10 points a game, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. Now, when you look at his previous 2 games, against the Spurs, he had 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals. However, the game before that, in 23 minutes, he had 9 points, 5 rebounds, 10 assists, 4 steals, and a block. So if you're someone that looks into, stocks and a lot of things outside of scoring, with this game potentially getting out of hand, I can see Scottie Pippen Jr. getting, in the upper 20s minutes.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that also because somebody's got to be pitching in on Toronto's side, I would also give a little bit of exposure to Grady Dick. Yeah, he's 4,200 and he's averaging 25.1 fantasy points per game. Them's the kind of odds that I look at, the kind of numbers that I like. You're getting good value. And yes, this is going to be a whomping, but they're still going to put up about 100 points. So somebody's going to have to help score them.
Right.
And with the fantasy, we all know that it's not just points that count. Steals, rebounds, assists, all of that get figured in. So I really like the Grady Dick play here. We're going back to Embiid. Embiid coming off of his first start of the season, rallied up a triple-double Now he's facing Bam Adebayo and the Miami Heat. I had to do this, Lawson, because Vegas doesn't even know what the hell to do with this game.
Before
Minus
you
108.
Really quick,
Minus
before
112.
you dive on in, Joel Embiid has already been ruled out with injury management. He was ruled out after the game because due to his injury concerns, he's not going to play back to backs. So
That works.
if that tallies into I didn't want you to waste your breath if you're about to go
No.
in that Joel was sensational last night. I just wanted to air that out before we talk about the game.
And it says that Andre Drummond is also doubtful with
Yeah, with that
toe
toe injury.
injury.
Paul
So
George
that, I
is also
mean,
doubtful
that's
with the finger. So
yeah. So I think that that's leaving not a whole lot of pieces on the table for Philly to run with.
mhm.
For the Heat, we all know that Jimmy Butler is still suspended. But I think I got to roll with my gut in this one, and I'm going to take the Heat on the road. I do know that, Tyrese Maxey is going to be Tyrese Maxey. They didn't super maxi him for no reason. Okay. So before we even get into that, I understand that. But I'm going to go ahead and before you steal my thunder, I love Jamie Jaquez Jr. in this matchup.
Yeah, Jaime Jaquez. He's been awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, Jaquez. I'm sorry, I did not pronounce that. Forgive
Yeah,
me,
you're
Internet
fine.
Lamb. Go ahead and put it on a TikTok. I don't care. He called him Jamie Jaquez Jr. Look,
Yeah.
nobody's perfect, but I do love what he brings to this Heat team.
Mhm.
He's averaging 21.7 fantasy points per game, and he is only, listen to this, Lawson, only 4,400 on DraftKings.
It's a steal.
That is a steal, considering Butler is out and his playing times went up
Hmm.
tremendously.
Right. In
Where are
turn,
you at with this?
in terms of the game, I think the Miami Heat are going to win. You're getting the Heat money line at plus 100. I think that's a steal. You're getting the healthier team, the better team at plus money. Give me the Heat all day. Now, in terms of someone who could be like a fantasy steal, um, Nikola Jovic, he plays off the bench. Sometimes he starts, sometimes he's in the starting rotation. Now, you're I think your position is right. I think your player is wrong. Jaime Jaquez has been a beast off the bench for the Miami Heat, but I think Nikola Jovic, I think he's a better perimeter player. I think he's a better defender. Now he might not get your rebounds and assists that Jaime Jaquez will, but I think he's a better overall scorer than Jaime. Which once again, I think you got the position right. I think you got the player wrong. But once again, this game could really get out of hand unless Max is going to put up another 30-point performance, which he probably will because they don't really have any good perimeter defenders on the Miami Heat roster. Like, who's going to be his matchup? Is it going to be Terry Rozier?
I don't even know, but I do
Yeah,
like that play. But I'm glad that you brought up Terry Rozier because I will have some exposure to him. I mean, Terry
right.
Rozier is going to be Terry Rozier, and when you're talking a caliber of that player
Hmm.
at 4,700,
Yeah.
that poses the question of why the hell not?
I mean, at that price, you might as well. However, in terms of just this game, going back to it, the Heat are dead last in blocks per game. And what do we know about Tyrese Maxey? He's one of the fastest and quickest players in the NBA, taking
Mhm.
players off the dribble, getting to the rim, which is why I could see Tyrese, having a fantastic game. However, I still think that the Miami Heat win. But if you are going to pay some of the higher prices for players for daily fantasy sports, Tyrese Maxey is up there. He draws a fantastic matchup in this game.
Awesome. Welcome aboard for Shaw 94. We know what we talking about. We've been doing this a long time. So make sure you ask any questions that you may have and enjoy the show. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And we appreciate you joining the show, man. On to the next. The horrible, horrible Wizards
They'll go too hard.
against the Nets. Look, man, this Wizards team is just in shambles. The
Mhm.
Nets, let's face it, they're in shambles. This is two subpar, scraping the bottom of the barrel teams. And I honestly look at this, and this is one of these games, Lawson, that I look at the line and I'm like, Vegas just gave the advantage to the home team and nothing else.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do what I did. I'm going to recant what I said yesterday because I went against the Nets yesterday and they were victorious. I am going to ride with the Nets in this one. I think that they have, and then this ain't saying much, so don't take it out of context, people. They have a better team than the Wizards. So, I mean, you look at the fact that they just got rid of Kyle Kuzma. Chris Middleton will not be playing. This is a team that's going to be heavily reliant upon the bench in this one. No
Mhm.
ands, ifs, or buts. So, I do like the Nets in this one. The -4.5 play, even. I, I I'm not scared of it, but I'm not like, oh my God, that's my lock of the day. I'm not scared of
Right.
it, but I think the safe play would be running some sort of a 3-leg parlay with the Nets at -180 to get a little bit better odds and make a little bit more money. What are you thinking?
I think that I'm not scared at the 4.5. Jump on the Nets all day long. Cameron Johnson is returning from his 6 game absence due to that right ankle sprain he suffered. He's one of the best shooters, pure shooters, in the NBA. In terms of even though like Cam Thomas is still out with his hamstring injury, Noah Clowney's still out. The Washington Wizards are still without Alex Sarr, and he's been a really good rookie. I just think that it's two bad teams going against each other. I'm leaning home team, the more healthier team. Ben Simmons is active. Zaire Williams is active. I think that the D'Angelo Russell, Cam Johnson, Ben Simmons aspect of it, and I didn't even mention Nick Claxton, who can give Jonas Valanciunas some issues down low. Now, in terms of fantasy, if Ben Simmons plays, I'm all over Ben Simmons. Just his, yes, I understand he doesn't score. He's a great on-ball defender. He's a great in the lane defender when it comes to getting deflections and steals, and he is more than capable of a ball handler. Like you see his assist numbers, especially over his career,
Mm.
and even this year. I mean, he's averaging 25 minutes a night, and he's still giving you 6 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists. Now he did miss the game last night with a lower back injury, but even in his 2 games before, 2 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and even in the game before that, 10 points, 2 rebounds, and 6 assists. I'm a sucker for Ben Simmons, but give me Ben Simmons all day long in this game.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you on that call, and I think I'm actually going to stack him here. I always like when players return
Yeah.
because they come in with a chip on their shoulder. So
Hmm.
I'm actually not as scared of going with Cameron Johnson and Ben Simmons
Yeah.
stack. And if you want to get a little crazy with a bring back, I'm not scared of going low because he has been solid for Washington. I'm not scared of running with short shorts Malcolm Brogdon.
Hmm.
I think he's been solid. He's not going to get you 50 points, but he can get you a healthy 18, 25,
Hmm.
especially with Kuzma gone, injuries, everything else.
His
And
usage goes
he's
up 100%.
yes, exactly. And Malcolm Brogdon is literally sitting at 5,100 and he's averaging 25.9. You know what I mean? So, like, that is odds that I like. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But on to the next one. This one has me befuddled. The Timberwolves at home minus 625
Hmm.
against a decent, even despite, because I called these guys yesterday and they were the underdogs yesterday and they ended up coming through for me. I'm not going to go first on this. Do you think they got this line wrong?
No, they didn't. Even without Julius Randle, who has been ruled out for Minnesota, I think this. Hold on, let me read this. What's a Oh, we got that one 100%, and you're right, Brandon. Maxi just destroyed. In terms of just the game and the line, 11.5 is a lot for a Chicago Bulls team that did win last night. However, in the whole scheme of things, Minnesota's the better team. They have the best player. I think that I just Rudy Gobert will give Vuce problems, and I think that like Lonzo Ball's been ruled out, THT's been ruled out, Kevin Herter, who's been ruled out due to a coach's decision. I'm sure he's going to play within the near future, just not in this game. Now, to spotlight a player fantasy wise and for your DFS, Nas Reed. This is his game. I expect him to be in the starting lineup. If not, Nas Reed's always first man off the bench. That I could see them running a big lineup like a just to throw this out there, they could throw out Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Nas Reed, and Rudy Gobert and be just fine without Julius Randle.
So are you rolling you think that the 11 and a
Yeah,
half is
yeah,
a
they'll
little
cover the
bit
11
too
and a half.
high? You think that they will?
Yeah, I think that
Now, before you finalize this,
I don't need no
know.
befores. I don't need no double
before
check.
you finalize, like
I don't need it.
Vucevic, the last time that Vucevic went against, Rudy Gobert,
I get you.
Neither one could guard each other because Vucevic finished that game. And now, granted, this was back in November, but he finished that game with 36.75 fantasy points and dropped 25 points on him.
Right. The only problem is he's going to have to still guard Rudy Gobert, even though, once again, it's Rudy Gobert. He's not really an offensive center. However, the Chicago Bulls lead the league in points given up in the paint. I expect this Minnesota team to drive downhill, which could lead into some foul trouble for Vucevic. And we know when Vucevic leaves the floor, it's all right. Kobe White, is it your turn or my turn? And Minnesota still has good perimeter defenders in Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels.
All right. Well, we're going to agree to disagree on this one because I'm rolling with the Bulls plus 11 and a half.
Right.
I think that, getting rid of LaVine actually revitalized this team. LaVine actually, in my opinion, put this Bulls team in a roller coaster ride. He's there for a couple games, and then he's gone for a couple games, and then he's there for a couple games, then he's gone for a couple games. And the player that's filling in for him is my start of the day. Again, I'm riding him. Ayo! Dasumo. I love this guy. I think he's very talented. Yes, he is going against a stout Minnesota team, but, I don't think that this – I'm sort of like with you about the Blazers, about the Bulls. This is a young team. They've got a solid big man in Vuce. They've got Giddy. They've got Kobe White. They've got Dasunamo. Yes, Ball is out, but they still have Patty Williams. This is a young team.
Right.
And I'm really, really, I don't think that outside of the threat that Anthony Edwards brings, that's the only, like if Ant comes in and has an off night, oh man, that's going to open that door wide open for the Bulls. But now if Ant comes in and starts posterizing people right out the gate, I know my bet's screwed and I'm shutting the TV off.
Right.
I'm not lying. But that's I if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Run back with Ayo.
Right until the wheels fall off.
Yep, exactly. The Timberwolves should cover, but the Bulls are sneaky, especially after coming back last night.
Yeah,
I called that. If you guys were watching the show, you guys cashed that bet because I called the Bulls, and everybody else was against me on it. But I did. I called the Bulls. So on to the next one. The Pelicans going up against the Nuggets. Look, give me the Nuggets minus 92.5 at this point. This is going to be a butt whooping. And no, there's no such thing. So I'm just being cocky. Don't hold it against me. Oh my God, this dude don't know what he's talking about. I am not scared of it. Yeah, no kidding. I love the Nuggets in this. There is no answer. This is a triple-double waiting to happen for Nikola Jokic. That is the lock of the day. If you are paying up, you better have the Joker in your lineup.
Mhm.
This is too good of a matchup.
Right. In terms of just the game in general, I am right there with you. The Nuggets should win and cover the spread. I don't care how much it is. Now, it is notable that no Russell Westbrook, no Peyton Watson, who those are key guys. Aaron Gordon is questionable with a calf, but I expect him to play.
But Brandon
Now,
Ingram's out for the Pelicans.
right, and so is Dejounte Murray, who tore his Achilles last week. Now, a sneaky player for this game for the Pelicans, even though once again the Pelicans will lose this game. Their starting center Missy, I expect him to have a solid night against Jokic because for as talented as Jokic is on the offensive end, he is almost as bad as he is on the defensive end, and I expect Missy to generate a couple offensive rebounds and get some put back easy layups. If you're looking for any kind of value play in this game, that's your value play 100%.
I am going on the opposite side with Denver,
Mm-hmm.
and I have two players that I'm eyeballing in this. The first one is Christian Braun,
Yeah, he's been excellent over the past
averaging
2 weeks.
26.7 against the 27th ranked team against the small uh, shooting guard, small forward position,
Mm-hmm.
and he is at a measly 5,500. And the other one that I'm not scared with, all of the injuries of Westbrook and all of this, I am not scared of fiddling in a little bit of Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, he's very streaky for me, which that's a good and bad thing because he has one of the prettiest jump shots in the NBA. You see him coming off those pin down screens, especially off the
Mhm.
top, and for a catch and shoot, he's one of the best catch and shoot players in the NBA. I'm just leaning more of the real value ish play. Once again, do not play anybody on the Pelicans. However, if you are, I think their center has a favorable matchup going against Jokic down low.
Absolutely. And you know what else needs to get low?
Go ahead.
We need more people on our social media, you guys. It is time for that station identification. BRB. And we are back again, you guys. Make sure you visit us on social media, like and subscribe to all of our pages. Stay in the know. You've heard the rest, now trust the best. We are Total Apex. Lawson, on to the next game here. We
Yeah.
got the Warriors minus 225 going into Utah. And I don't know about this, but I mean, Andrew Wiggins, questionable. Mark Cannon, questionable. Sexton, out. Kaminga, out. Draymond Green, questionable. I've already got my sort of sneaky play in the back of my head,
Yeah.
but I think this is one of these games for me. In Steph, we trust kind of thing. Draymond, even if he plays limited time, I'm sort of torn on it because I also am very, very high on Collins.
Yeah.
And this is hard.
Yeah. In terms of just this game, when you look, I mean, Andrew Wiggins is probable with a hit. Draymond's probable with a calf. We saw Draymond in his return get 29 minutes. I think that
And only 4 points I'd like that, 4 or 6 points.
he's not a scorer. But right. We know what Draymond is. He's been known for the triple singles. However, it's interesting you say in Steph we trust because over the past 2 weeks he's been he's been more name than game. However, he's still, let's not get it twisted, he's still the best shooter ever and one of the best shooters that will ever, whenever he's in the league, he's one of the best shooters in the game. Now they'll win and cover the 5.5 due to like Colin Sexton out, Laurie Markkinen, he's questionable with injury management. I mean, Cody Williams out, Taylor Hendricks still out. I just think that Golden State is the They are the sleeping beast waiting for something or some help. Now, we now earlier today we got word that they're still trying to get Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant said that he doesn't want a reunion. They're now full switching. Just now I'm being, I just read that they're switching full attention to try and reacquire Jimmy Butler. There was a deal on the table. However, Jimmy Butler declined it. But maybe with new information, new timing, new day, XYZ, blah blah blah. The player for this game, Draymond Green. I think he's going to not. He's going to dominate the game. How Draymond dominates games. He's going to be good on the defensive end, rebound, assist. Hell, we might see a couple threes from him, which I wouldn't be shocked. I was surprised that he got almost 30 minutes in his first game back. I expect him to see just about the same, if not a little bit more minutes, if this game gets close. I see this game being close through 3 quarters, and the Warriors going on a 10-2 run late to really kind of bust it open a little bit.
I think for me, I'm not going on a spread here, but I think that the odds, considering, Steph Curry has been up and down, Draymond really hasn't been that active, and you look at some of the pieces that the Jazz have, I think this is one of my gambles of the night. I think I'm rolling Jazz money line here at plus 185.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, there's no upside, there's no downside. I mean, if you win, there's all the upside, and you throw a buck on it, you're still making your money.
Right.
But I think that this has the opportunity, and you sort of have to give the Jazz a little bit of credit at home because they have played tremendously better at home versus on the road. And the player that I'm actually eyeballing from the fantasy aspect is Jordan Clarkson. I think he's due for a big game. I think he's got a good matchup here. And I don't think people understand how good of a player Jordan Clarkson really, really is. And when you think about what he's averaging 27.9 fantasy points per game, and he's only at 5,600 on DK. Sign me up every day. I'm just saying.
Right. Now, not to and I'm not raining on parades. I'm not in that business. I'm in the analyst business. This Jazz team is 1-9 in their last 10 games, and with a home record of 4-18. They have played slightly better on the road with 7-4 wins. But like you said, if it's a gamble of the night, there's no reason to not at least
At plus 185, all they have to do is hit a last second shot. I mean, I don't care how it's done, but I mean,
right, I get you.
Steph Curry has not been Steph Curryous. Like it's a weird word to say, but he just hasn't been himself this year because he's not, in years past, he's had so many supporting cast members. He had Chris Paul for a while, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson. Draymond Green is still there, but we all know that's grandpa now.
Right.
He's up there with LeBron James in age, like. So I just, at some point, you have to my daily risk it for the biscuit. Okay.
Right.
So this is that risk it for the biscuit. At some point, the Utah Jazz have to snap out of it. And I know that everybody's saying, "Oh man, that's Steph Curry." No, that don't scare me. That's one person out of the 5 that are on the court.
I feel you 100%.
You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with the game. On to the next one. I want to say this straight up on the air. I am taking the Suns. No, I'm not. I'm taking the Thunder minus 19.5. They're going to blow them out by about 20 points.
Better say without Kevin Durant. without Kevin Durant.
Yeah, the Suns team's about to get wally-whopped. I'm not even going to get fancy. You could start all the daggone starters you could create a whole lineup with just the starters of the Thunder, and you can guarantee that they're all going to drop 25 fantasy points. This is just too lopsided. You're losing one of the best players in the game with KD. Devin Booker doesn't play well without a supporting cast. Let's face it. I'm not sold on Devin Booker.
Yeah.
He's too wishy-washy. He is, and I want your opinion because he's been in the news. He sort of is starting to turn into that Kyle Kuzma. He's having these wishy-washy seasons, up and down, up and down. And Devin Booker may be better than Kuzma, but this is how it started because Kuzma is not the same Kyle Kuzma that we saw in LA. By far.
Right.
And now
Let
Go
me hear
ahead.
it. No, you got it. Come on, let me hear it.
So, but now you're looking at Devin Booker, and Devin Booker, he has these big games, but then he disappears. And then I've seen it, dude. Like he'll go from 40 points, 30 points a game, one game into 10, 11 points a game.
Hmm.
Like as
I
the
think that
star, as the
I think
star,
right now, not to cut you off, but I think that is one of the most goofiest takes I've heard in a long time. I mean, you look at Devin Booker; he scored 30 or more in 3 straight games. I used to be not in the green. He was a Kyle Kuzma-esque player, but I was in the hesitant to buy my stock in on Devin Booker. I thought he was a big fish in a small market in Phoenix. We've seen him score 70 points. When he was a younger player. Now, for as much as I don't like, his antics, whether it be his ish talking per se, but dude's got a beautiful game. However, he's another De'Aaron Fox esque, like I mentioned earlier. He has a bad matchup in this game. You're going against one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. They have Lou Dort, they have Alex Caruso, they have a bunch of different kinds of bodies to throw at him. I think overall it's a bad matchup for Devin Booker, and for the game in totality, I expect Oklahoma City to take their belt off and beat the brakes off the Suns. This game will
and it may
probably,
have not been an exact analogy, but you get
yeah.
where I was going with
I
this. Is like,
I get in theory what you were saying.
yeah,
However, like Devin Booker's still one of the best. He is still one of the most talented and best players in the NBA. Like that's
yeah,
not.
but I've also seen him where there's
Yes, like you've
when
seen
he's
him.
against he does well against the lower echelon teams if he doesn't have his supporting cast.
Uh, Yes, and you can say that for
Yeah,
many. You can say
yes,
that for many second best players on teams, depending upon where you think if he's better than KD at this point in his career. They're both pretty damn close. Now,
yeah,
I get in theory what you're saying because we've seen him, we've seen him go for 32, and then the next game followed up with 18. But some guys just have their off shooting nights, but when he's on, he has one of the prettiest jumpers in the NBA. He has one of the best games in the NBA. With 3 straight 30+ point games. With all that being said, you can chalk it up. Chalk it up. They're gonna get rolled tonight.
yeah. I'm with you on that. And
Yeah,
if I'm putting money $15, $20 in the Millie Maker or some sort of big large field tournament, I'm definitely putting Jokic and SGA in that lineup. You
100%.
could fill out that you're going to get 120 points between the two of those.
Right.
I mean, there's no ands, ifs, or buts. And if it doesn't happen, then something is seriously wrong that the NBA is rigged. I swear, if I get up in the morning and I check the scores and the Nuggets did not dominate and the Thunder did not dominate, I know the NBA is rigged. I'm just saying. At this point, that's horse nuggets. I'm sorry.
Right.
So on to the next game, man.
Tell me
The
more.
Magic plus 5.5 at the Kings.
Mhm.
I think this game's going to be a little closer than what they're thinking.
Yeah.
I know that they still have Demontis Sabonis, but you just gave up De'Aaron Fox. Who else do you got?
Yeah.
I mean, the Magic.
DeMar
I
DeRozan
mean,
and Zach LaVine are pretty nice.
yeah, but is Zach LaVine even playing?
Yeah, he is playing tonight.
Oh,
He
he is.
he had his opening presser earlier, and he said he's playing tonight.
There it is then. So I'm actually okay with this, but it also goes, I don't know why I can't find the let me see something. I want to see something.
Mhm. What are you looking for?
I was gonna look at the injury report for Orlando.
Jalen Suggs is
Max
doubtful with a quad injury,
McClung.
and Mo Wagner is still out with that season-ending knee injury. So it looks like the
I'm
only player that's questionable or doubtful is Jalen Suggs, and he's doubtful with the quad.
I think I'm rolling. I think I'm gonna just go with my gut here.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I love Paulo Banchero, but I'm not riding him until he breaks up out of this slump. That's all there is
right.
to it. Give me the Kings. I'll even give them the 5.5. You know what I mean? I think that they can cover that with ease. Demontis Sabonis is
Breaking
a
news!
matchup.
Breaking news! The Washington Wizards are trading Jonas Valanciunas to the Sacramento Kings For City I don't know how to pronounce this name. For City Kisoko and 2 second-round picks. So that adds depth and size to a kind of small Kings
I
team.
know what they're about to do. They're about to put Valanciunas in the center and move Sabonis to the PF power forward.
Right.
I'm
That
just saying, I'm gonna call it now, and now you are looking at that's a very good pickup. A good job breaking that. So for all of those people that are out there right now, let's get that on the Google Sheets. Let's get it out. Don't make me have to do it. I'm with the Kings in this.
yeah.
I did. Am I torn on the call? Yes, I am. But I just until Paulo can break out, it's just hard to trust this Magic teams. They're sliding,
Mhm.
and I can't. Am I looking at that the wrong way?
No, you're not. Especially since Paulo has entered this slump, and since he's returned from his oblique injury, they're 2-12 they're 2-10 in the 12 games that he has played. I think this game is going to be a lot closer than what people think. I'm still perfectly fine with taking the Kings and swallowing the 5.5 due to I think Sabonis and Zach Levine and DeMar DeRozan. I think they're going to be really fun, and we didn't even mention Malik Monk. Malik Monk is a dog, especially when it comes to scoring and assisting and facilitating the ball. I think Zach Levine is almost a one-to-one slide, and you can slide him in right where De'Aaron Fox is, and he can continue to score just like De'Aaron Fox was.
Mhm.
Give me the Kings minus 5.5 in this game.
I love it. And from the fantasy aspect, I think this is a game where you roll with your studs. Don't try to get too fancy on the outside. I mean, you can try to find a little bit of value, but this is a game that doesn't have a lot of firepower to begin with on both sides. Like you look at Wendell Carter, wishy washy. Paolo Banchero, wishy washy. Malik Monk's a solid play. You've talked about DeMar DeRozan, going to be more pricey, but solid play. Sabonis, solid play. There are the studs, and I think that's where we're going to have to live in this game. I don't think there's too many of that 5K range players that are really standing out to me that I like. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, give me that guy. No.
Right.
Okay. So, where are you at with the fantasy? Who you got?
In terms of fantasy, as opposed to someone who's a full play, I'm gonna give you someone who's a full fade. Keegan Murray, fade, 110%. He draws up a
Mm-hmm.
difficult matchup. Depending upon whether they put Paula or Franz Wagner on him, it's a tough matchup for wings. And once again, not that Jalen Suggs would guard him, but the Magic are a good they're a good solid defensive team. Goga could give Sabonis and Keegan some issues inside, even though Keegan's more of a stretch four. But a
Mm-hmm.
full fade is Keegan Murray. If there is a play on here, um, I mean, I don't know what his price range is. However, some eventually he's got to break out of the slump. Paulo Banchero is a hezzy play. He's a hezzy play.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree there. I think the only player on the Magic that I would even give any look to, because according to DraftKings, this game is a showdown, which means salary prices are a lot higher.
Hmm.
But for Orlando, if I'm looking at just Orlando, I think you have to do some Franz Wagner.
Yeah.
I think you have to get him in there. And I think you got to follow him up with his counterpart, Cole Anthony. I think him and Cole Anthony have been a pretty good tandem in Paulo Banchero's slide. Um, and then the other player that I was looking at um, was Caldwell Pope.
Yeah. KCP. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got a solid chance to do a little bit of damage in this one. Not to the point of, oh my God, he just dropped a 50 burger, but I think he can drop a 25 pointer in
Mm.
this game. So I do like that. But on to the lock of the day. I'm going to start because I'm going to do something a little different here. So I'm going to run a 3-leg parlay here, Lawson, and I want you to tell me what you think of it. But I'm leaning towards the Kings money line at minus 218.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards the Jazz at the plus 185 money line, just to give me a little bit of double, action there. And then I am leaning towards the Heat minus 108.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. If you just want to for a parlay or anything of the day, the only thing I would do is change the Jazz pick. But however, one of us is going to be right, one of us is going to be wrong about that. I would honestly I would trade that for Spurs money line. But other than that, I don't hate your 3-leg.
I'm not opposed to that move either. I mean,
Yeah.
you're still talking pretty good odds on that at minus 180. So I'm pretty solid with that, because you know what they say in math, what we were taught in school, 2 minuses is a positive, 2 negatives is a positive. So if you put 2 negative odds in the lineup, you're going to get positive money. That's all there is to it. So what's your lock of the day, bub?
Lock of the day, and you know what? I'm going to follow you with a 3-team parlay. Let's go Warriors money line. Let's go Heat money line, and then for your last one, give me Kings money line. Those are, I think those are 3 solid plays.
Yep.
Real
I
solid
love it.
plays. I think you get a decent payout. I don't have my odds calculator out in front of me. However, I think those are 3 really good teams that have a really good chance to win. The only slight underdog, if you wanted to call them one, would be the Heat. I know they're at a plus 100. I just got done with their article right before we went live. So I think that's they provide your best odds at a plus 100 at essentially a pick 'em.
And you could even run 4 if you want to be real freaky with it. And
yeah, if you want to get jiggy with it, you could
throw the Nets in there at minus 180, because that's I really am confident on that play with Cam Johnson coming back. So, but at the end of the day, we are batting over what, Lawson? You did the math. We were batting over 60%, 70% on our bets.
In the NFL, this regular season, we finished with a record. I had it written down. Now, once again, it's the NFL season. I understand there's only 1 game left. However, for the NFL regular season, now the playoffs have been a little hit and miss for me. I'll wait till the Super Bowl's done to fully go through. But in the NFL regular season, we went 66, 39, and 2, which is a 66.62 winning percentage.
Smells like money to me.
Oh, hey,
So,
we're all
but
trying
at
to
the
get
end
rich
of the
one
day,
parlay at a time.
exactly. We do it one parlay at a time, $1 at a time, one team at a time. So, but any final thoughts before we take this thing home?
I'm just excited for the slate to tip off. It tips off in about 2 hours, and I couldn't be more excited.
Absolutely. So, for Lawson, for Dusty, for the entire Total Apex Media family, you guys have a good evening. Make sure you get those bets in there. Make sure you pay attention to the injury report. And if we helped you make money and you cash those bets, make sure you drop us a message on Twitter, Facebook. Join the show. Talk some smack. We love it. But for Dusty, for Lawson, you guys have a good evening. Peace.